a CNBC contributor. And thank you both for joining us. I'll start with you, John. Just what are you expecting to actually happen in the next week or so?
In terms of OPEC, Joe, or the market itself?
In terms of OPEC. What are we going to hear?
In terms of OPEC, yeah, we're going to hear that they're studying the market. They're going to remain highly reactive, ready to move, but they will not make any additional cuts at this meeting, in my view. They just announced a 2 million barrel cut at the last meeting. They did, in fact, implement a 700,000 barrel cut over the course of last month, according to the preliminary data that we're getting for last month. So I think it's a wait-and-see approach for them for right now, particularly, Joe, because they are acknowledging a couple of things: the situation with Russia, the embargo, and the price cap potential, and also, too, we're entering the peak demand period for the world. The Northern Hemisphere winter is the big game here, and so I think they're going to sit tight for now.
We do things for supply. We did the SPR. John, what's your view on the Venezuela Chevron deal that workers? Is it actually, can it come online more quickly? I mean, can you justify the Biden administration going down to Venezuela versus a lot of people criticize the treatment of the majors here in this country? Was there a good reason to go to Venezuela? Is it faster?
It actually is faster, Joe. Look, it's not a good look, obviously. You know, Maduro, the president there, is a horror show and in a bad situation. But look, we're in a tough situation here with the Russian situation, especially with this European embargo that's coming. Also, too, the economics in the Permian Basin right now just aren't great. The folks down there, between the regulatory situation to a degree, but just the numbers, the labor costs, the material costs, if you can get both of those, just aren't making sense all that much right now, believe it or not, with prices where they are. This will get barrels to the market. Most importantly, the Venezuelan oil is the oil that was historically for our Gulf Coast refiners, this heavier sour crude that they can produce, whereas the Permian actually isn't. So we're in a tough spot right now. You know, beggars can't be choosers. I think it's a great move.
Heidi, we had Amos Hochstein, a frequent guest, on yesterday. I don't know, we call him an energy whisperer for the administration. And I asked him, is it helpful when the president continues to, I think he's speaking to certain parts of the Democratic Party when he says, we are going to end drilling. And Amos at least conceded that we're going to be, what I got from him was we're going to need to use oil for several more years. And that's where I don't think that's the correct, several more decades? Is it, what do you think several is? Is that like 3 to 5 years? Heidi, there's no way we're done with oil in 3 to 5 years.
No, and anyone who actually follows the market and follows what needs to happen in this economy to do that kind of conversion believes it. The problem with the president saying it is it sends the wrong message to the market. You already have, as John talked about, high input costs, a need to actually see higher prices in places like the Permian to make that economic in terms of investment, and then you rattle the cage on regulation and on shutting the industry down. And it's not a productive look. There's a chance to have a conversation about what we need to do to improve our opportunities here in this country so we don't have to go to Venezuela, so we don't have to go to Saudi. But we've had now how many years of shale production where we produce light sweet crude, but yet the refining industry continues to refine, as John said, the sour crude, heavier crude from places like Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. And so a real conversation about this would be really great for, number one, our economy, but more importantly, for just telling the truth that this is not an industry that can turn on a dime. You've got to see these transitions.
It would be nice to get there. I like the name of your, one country. We still are one country. Why do you think we can make progress with both parties and the Biden administration to make it easier for refiners to do what they need to do, to make permitting easier? Or when we hear the president say, what do you think is the motivation for when the president says that? Is it what I said, that he's speaking to certain parts of the Democratic Party, the climate advocates, or Who's he talking to? And it's not productive. It's not helping.
Yeah, I can't speak to his motivation on who he's talking to and who he isn't talking to, but the lawmakers and the policymakers that I talk to know that we need to have stability in regulation and stability in this industry. One of the places where I think everybody appreciates it is in permitting and infrastructure, because you cannot have this conversion without permitting reform. I mean, where are we going to get the minerals that we need to make this conversion to EVs? And so I think there's smart people who are not just ideological, who are actually thinking about how do we move this forward. And I have a lot of hope that there might be an opportunity for a centrist, bipartisan analysis, especially in the area of natural gas. And so we can really do great things for American consumers and great things for our environment if we figure out how to talk to each other.
Okay, thanks, Heidi. Are you not talking to Chuck Schumer or the Biden administration anymore? I mean, that's some crazy stuff you just said. You might be getting a call. I would block those numbers if I were you.
It's all good, Joe. It's all good.
Okay, good. Yeah, once you get out of politics, you don't have to
say whatever you like.
Exactly. You
say whatever you like.
I did that when I was in
whatever
politics.
she likes, though. She always
You
did.
can speak honestly, like Kilduff. John, thanks. Heidi, thanks. In a
Thank you very much.
Okay, Chevron.